Hello, my friends. Today in our show, amazing guest Melanie Richards. I love her because she's fantastic. She's a queen of networking, queen of events, queen of marketing, and I interviewed her for so many times, and every single time she gave amazing tips, which were helpful, which were smart, which actually were packed with real practical suggestions and real life experience. So if you want to get business through events, through networking, understand how marketing and communication work through the events or hybrid events or live events, we're going to talk about this today. Hi, Melanie, how are you doing? Tell us more about yourself.
Thank you, Eve, exquisite Eve, as I call her always, for your very, very warm welcome. I'm delighted to say that I am a business attraction and a collaborations coach. And that involves the strategy to help dynamic entrepreneurs and leaders attract business by leveraging events.
I love it. So let's talk about visibility because, as you know, in this show, we talk about two things constantly. So it's visibility and authenticity, and the one will be all about your subject. But we will involve all of the ideas, how they unpacked in these two topics. So let's start with the idea of visibility. And we discussed previously that we're going to talk about very specific type of visibility. So how to choose events which will help your visibility to shine? Tell us more about this.
In the beginning, if you're just getting started with events, a great way to rapidly increase your visibility at events is to volunteer. Find an event that, in some cases, it would not be an event that you could afford to invest for a ticket for. For example, you might find a multi-day conference. Make sure you got a lot of energy, but events that are a high price ticket by a thought leader you're following, by an organization that you're a new member of, are a great way to exponentially leverage your visibility at the event. You also receive a different set of credentials that distinguishes you. As a volunteer, you might have an opportunity to attend VIP events, to hear a
Mhm.
special keynote, something that's really, and have a really special experience that you can tailor.
Mhm. And is there any difference between like super highly paid events and the regular events? Because I know that there are plenty of events which highly expensive, and I'm not really sure that I need to invest this much money if I can meet people for significantly less amount of money in a smaller communities. So sometimes I feel that these highly paid events seriously overpriced. Is that true or it's just my feeling?
See, to me, it's not about the price, it's about the quality of the attendee. It's about the quality of the relationship that you're able to build. It's about the opportunity to really meet somebody who you can, as we are today, see eye to eye, whether it's in person, whether it's virtually, or whether it's a mix. Some of the smaller events are amazing because you meet someone and you have a chance to be memorable, and it exponentially increases your business. That volunteering is not a guarantee that you're going to be Cinderella or Prince Charming in some sort of dream or fairy tale sequence, but it does increase your opportunities of meeting people who, in many cases, can afford to pay for your products or your services or help you open the doors that you're trying to open.
And here we come to the networking part because definitely, I mean, we discussed networking with you a lot, and I consider you my teacher in networking. Thank you so much for all of this. But you know what you say that it's really important how we present ourselves during these events because it's not just how we choose events, right? It's how we behave on these events, how we attract business through these events, and essentially it comes to the networking. So tell us more about this authentic way to present yourself because I often see during the networking events, especially now we are all open for offline events as well. Some people either don't know how to present themselves, or sometimes they just need to hear my pitch and they're not really excited, but because they are super polite and they're like, mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know how to run away and they don't know how to stop me. And that's really a disaster. So, can you tell us more about how to behave authentically and deliver the message to pretty much unknown people?
So I think a good way to start would be by using a tip that you gave me during one of our early visibility gyms. We show up sometimes with a message or a goal. When we're showing up networking, 9 times out of 10, no one is ready to buy whatever it is we want to talk about.
Yeah.
When we meet each other at events, we're not really sure that someone is interested. But one of the great tips that you gave me at Visibility Gym that really helped me kind of get out of my head is that if you have three things that you'd love to say to someone, and maybe part of it might be an introduction. On the other hand, I love it. The other day, somebody reached out on LinkedIn, somebody I didn't know at all. And the person reached out and they had just stopped by my profile. And I just wanted to say hi and say why. And I sent them a message, 2 sentences, no pitch, just hi, how are you? Basically, kind of why you'd stop by and have a magnificent day. And the person answered back, full message. I have no idea why I was by your profile. I was probably doing research for a client. But the thing is, both sides, there's no pitch. So
Mhm.
I think the real way is to show up. People feel like we have to have practice marketing messages as if we're a beverage company, as if we're an airline. And what you helped me do in Visibility Gym, we've got to get out of our heads, real person to real person. And that really is probably the key to be visible, whether you're feeling like you're sunshiny that day, whether you're bringing your smile or you're just bringing a willingness to be curious about other people. That sometimes is just as attractive as having shared your messages with 100 people. People remember you as positive. They remember the key that you helped me understand is so important. It's our style.
I love the thing which you said, that we come with curiosity about other people, which instantly give me ideas about networking, which done right, when we really listen to other people, listen to their stories first of all, instead of pitching and throwing information in their direction, which is, yeah, guilty, many of us, I would say. So the good thing which you shared with me just before the interview, you were talking about the clarity of the message as well. So what do you think about structuring this authentic, real message, but still which will help people to pitch their business or themselves in more real, authentic way?
I don't have a pitch. I've been in marketing for decades now, and I don't have a pitch because each person that I'm speaking to is different. What Exquisite Eve is interested in is not what Mel necessarily is interested. It's about really showing up in a way where you're able to build what I call a living bridge. Imagine a place where we could all kind of hang out, we could all grow and learn from each other. It becomes really, really memorable in an authentic way that you created space for someone to share their message with you. They remember you as an exceptional listener. They remember you as a good mutual friend of ours likes to say all the time, as a good human. They remember you as someone who cares, as someone who maybe they'd like to reconnect with and discover more about so they can discover ways to help you. I think that's the authentic part when we show up. It's one of the keys to building connections while you're feeling comfortable. When we show up with the pitch, there's a message lined up. And if they say yes, then I go here. It's like a script, like the yes and the no. And the goal is, I was on a call with somebody a couple of weeks ago. The person was trying to get to yes. And in a gentle way, I basically had to say, today, my answer is no. And basically, whatever you're saying, my answer is no. And the person was really trying really hard, very, very well spoken. They were just looking for a sale. And in all honesty, I had to let them know today's not that day. Today is not that day. But I think that's the part. If you're showing up and you're willing to buy, if you're willing to care, if you're willing to explore, bring that message through so that
Mhm.
others are more interested in any other message you may share in the future. Because we're not interested, we don't progress.
I agree with you. So, my best question for you, I really want to know your best tips about how to attract business on the events, because what we discuss right now, it's actually like, how to behave, how to feel yourself like better, how to make other people feel better. But I guess that many people who will potentially listen this video or the podcast eventually, they will be like, wait a minute, we've been listening to them, we show up on that events, but how did we make business? So how to easily make business during events? Please give us your best 3 tips on this.
So the first tip that I would like to give you at an event is that events are your opportunity to increase awareness of your personal or your business brand. Events are an opportunity for you to invite others in to discover more. They're not, as opposed to pitching, it's an invitation. It's a please join us. It's almost the attitude or the expectation of today's my grand opening. Welcome. Welcome. It's that rolling out, the feeling of rolling out the red carpet, or the person is treated with such warmth and care that they feel magic, they feel excitement, they feel valued. That really at an event, treasure someone. They will never forget you.
I love it. So next tip.
The next tip would be once you meet someone that you'd like to have another conversation with, as opposed to focusing in on a call to action, an amazing coach and a dear mutual friend of ours taught me calls to connect. What is something, what is a way that the person can find you later? What would you like the next step to be without telling them which item to select on your menu? With that, you show up in a way that here's a place that we can find each other next to continue the conversation, even if the call to connect on your end is inviting them to share a way, whether it's a call, whether it's an email, whether it's a social media platform, whether it's the next event that they're planning on attending, to build that back to that living bridge where there is a call to connect and a call to reconnect. In some cases, in all honesty, you may meet somebody and all of a sudden you're feeling like you're in the Adams family or in one of the Star Wars galaxies. You know, you didn't meet Yoda, you met Darth Vader. You may also need calls to disconnect. So that is the other side of it.
So basically, it's like one of the biggest tips, which I think I ask all the networking experts. So, how to run away from the person who really, like, who you don't really like on networking events? So, what is your recommendation? Somebody like get approached you on this networking events, and you just know that it's not a right fit, but you still have to be polite and, I mean, not hurt somebody's feelings. How would you approach that?
Occasionally, look away.
Mhm.
We're speaking now and we're looking into each other's eyes, and we know we have our full attention. To allow yourself a second to appear to be distracted by something else. It's not rude, but the person, you've now broken that wall. You've now broken that wall that you have my full attention. so that something else is introduced. I had a client who used to have a lot of trouble disconnecting from conversations. My
Mhm.
advice to her was move away to the ladies' room, move away to the buffet line, move away to where they're giving out materials, remove away to some sort of lovely space. If you're an exhibitor, there's always an exhibitor lounge. If you're a volunteer, there's a place where you can go to ask questions. And yes, to take some time to disconnect
Mhm.
and really physically to move away, whether you do it quickly or not. Another way is if you're standing, go find a seat. If you're sitting, go walk somewhere and give yourself probably 30 seconds before you make a move and say thank you and leave so that there's a gratitude there as opposed to it was fabulous meeting you, as opposed to I'd love to see you again. Say thank you and leave. The person
Yeah.
moves on to descend on the next unwilling or willing person.
It's really interesting because I was listening to this and I understood that we really need to give ourselves permission to just move on. Because for many of us, we like stuck to that person and we now obliged to listen to this person because it's like polite. And we just really need to give ourselves permission, and then the way will show up, like you say, just move to ladies room or something like that, and it will be just perfectly right. So I love these ideas. So what is your best third tip?
My best third tip would be to show up to an event with a strategy and a flexible plan. One of my amazing strategic alliances said, be stubborn about your goals and flexible about your methods. Some people show up at an event and their goal is to collect 10 cards or set up 5 appointments or and it's the metrics, it's the geeky part. It's the I need to show that this investment was worth it, this investment of time. But I think having the flexibility to change your plan on the fly. This is not working. I went to an event once and it was the right, I was a new member of the chamber. There were 100 people there. It was 95 degrees indoors, and the air conditioning wasn't working. It was a wine and cheese party. I had one sip of wine, and I felt internally like my internal temperature was going up to about 120 degrees. And I smiled, put down my glass, put down my plate in the garbage, got back in my car, and I left and went home. And it wasn't the plan, but I knew for me, having a conversation in this really warm room right next to the pool, it felt like we were in a sauna. I knew it wouldn't be a day to be successful.
Mhm.
What I smiled at was there was an opportunity to leave your cards near the door. And as I left early, I picked up 3 cards of 3 people I'd like to get to know. And you know what? We connected later. It wasn't the same goal. My goal when I got there was to meet 3 people.
Mhm.
And I picked up 3 people's cards. It was a way to achieve the goal, not within the time plan, not necessarily with a direct conversation, but I had the information later to reach out or to follow up.
Mhm.
And I knew because their cards were there, they were there also. What I laughed
So,
was 2 of the people also left early. That was the funniest part.
with such conditions, I've been on a few events where the situation was approximately the same, and I felt really terrible because, you show up like, in the best outfit and all the things, but then you look like, sweaty and all. And not the best way to present yourself on the events for sure. So I can resonate with that a lot. So I have a question about the follow-up, because you had fantastic method how to sort the cards after the event, and I will disclose the secret information from the secret Verizon SOAR community, which Melanie has, and I'm a happy member of this community. So she gave fantastic tips there, by the way. So this is a very interesting method which you suggested, how to work out the cards after the event. So tell us more about this.
My suggestion with cards is before 24 hours after the event has expired, and hopefully while it's fresh in your mind, two things. One is if you're attending a lot of events, create an envelope that has the date of the event and where you are. And when you're pulling your cards out, separate them into a couple of piles. One pile would be any potential referral partners or collaborators you met. Normally, we start with oh, I think this is going to be a client, but start with the people who you met or encountered who it might be interesting to reach out to introduce to somebody else, to collaborate and learn more about, to potentially investigate, are they pursuing the same type of opportunities in markets that you are? Are they trying to reach the same decision makers? So really, this is a I want to learn more pile that you're pulling out of any cards you collected. The second pile I would encourage you to think about people you've met recently, people who you like to help, other people you know who are interested in meeting fantastic people. And that person you met might not be a great collaborator for you, may not be a great introduction for you, but they might be a great person to introduce to somebody else. So let's call that pile the I want to see if there's an opportunity to help that person or someone else I know create an opportunity. So, first pile really is opportunities for yourself, for your organization, for your team. The second one is a pile where there are opportunities for others. The third pile, you're not sure what to do with. And those cards, I would put in that envelope. I go back to those envelopes every now and then. I'm like, oh, I met so and so from such and such. They might be a good opportunity for somebody else. If you're unable, really, within 2 to 3 months, to create an opportunity for that person in that envelope, then that pile, honestly, may be somebody who you send a connection request to on social media so you can learn more in the future, or it may be the card that goes in your recycling pile, because really we're looking for opportunities for ourselves. That's the purpose in many places, or the opportunity for your team or for a team member, whether you're maybe picking up a card and you're passing it to another team member to follow up. But opportunities for ourselves, opportunities for others, and that I don't know pile. Maybe you reconnect with them a month later and you're like, oh, yeah, I have your card. We met at X. That's a marvelous way to open a door to a future opportunity. But if you don't feel that kind of goosebump sense for yourself, for someone else, that envelope is a good place to park that card.
Yeah, and from me, it's a one suggestion, because I know I feel goosebumps to connect with people. As an introvert, I'm like, okay, you know, I already met with everybody once, and I always wait until people will actually meet with me eventually, and I mean, like, follow up me, and it's a worst strategy ever, but people still following up, so it's good. But I never choose it, and I think, like, I would like to encourage people to really follow the steps, to really follow Melanie's suggestions, because the fortune is in follow up. If you want to listen to another video from Tracy Smorinsky, who actually written the book about the fortune is in follow up. So we really, really need to step over our ego, maybe, or our fears, and really see the opportunity which we just discussed today. Really look at this, how we can help, how we can become referral partners, how they will be referral partners for us, or be careful with throwing out the cards, because really, as you say, these cards can be the opportunity. I really love this method a lot. And also, like, there are plenty of methods how you can do it digitally as well without even throwing cards. You just put them digitally, and you know that these addresses will remain with you for a while. If you don't want to keep the paper cards, if you visit in many events, yeah, you will have a lot of cards. Maybe nowadays the digital way will work as well in this direction. So Melanie, tell us more about how people can connect with you, because I would like to hear from you about the Rise and Soar community. I would like to hear about your LinkedIn, because you create tons of amazing videos on your LinkedIn, and I would like to hear from you about your amazing group on Facebook, because you have so many brilliant places to connect with you. Tell us more about this.
I greatly appreciate that. One of the places that I'd love to invite you to join us to is on Facebook. We have a community with members in over 28 countries, illuminations groups for talented entrepreneurs, a safe place to bring your blogs, your videos, your offers, your gems to show up and lift others. We're looking for inspiration. We're looking for help learning to earn. So if that's of interest, please definitely pop by there. We rise and soar. I'm really grateful to Exquisite Eve and Erin Strayer for helping me create this labor of love a little bit over 3 years ago. And We Rise and Soar is a smaller, more intimate group where we meet in three different ways. One is we have a monthly meeting that's complimentary, where you're welcome to join us as my guest. Just show up in a place with some positive energy, in a place where we can all grow. There are also group coaching programs behind We Rise and Soar, which is really exciting in the sense of I've become a fan of positive intelligence and mental fitness. So I have a group now where we're really exploring ways to help each other do that. Kind of turn some of the saboteurs on the left side of our brain into sage powers to help us process emotions positively in business and in life. The other place that's interesting is next month, we'll be celebrating 6 months of LinkedIn Lives, which, as Exquisite Eve knows, I am her fellow introvert. And I started the LinkedIn Lives on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to interview my first guest. That was how I picked the first date. If I didn't already have a guest, and I knew we picked the dates when she would join me, the first two dates. And I said, oh, what am I going to do in between? Well, I guess so. Each week we have a conversation, just me for 20 minutes. And the following week we have a delicious guest. And I'm delighted that Eve joined us from Mastering Personal Branding and Mastering Personal Branding Strategies. So LinkedIn's a great way, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're interested in popping into a Zoom for monthly or weekly accountability, and we rise and soar. Come, let's hang out.
I love it. Thank you so much, because I love the fact that you right now so much on video, because you have such a calming and soothing personality. I love your videos. I love your voice. I love how you present yourself. And therefore, I absolutely recommend to everybody watch these interviews, because they are packed with wisdom. They are packed with true, authentic, emotional messages from many phenomenal people from Melanie's community. And she is a leader of the really interesting community. I would say that she got the best views for all the videos in the show, because she's showing it to this amazing responsive community. So absolutely join the community, join Melanie, connect with her. And if you want to learn more about how to get more business, definitely talk to her. And see you next time. Bye bye.